Tag TV, and Tag Radio. Technology now has a voice of innovation and information. Get it on www.tagtvonline.com. As the spirit of the season brings memories of childhood, family, and friends to mind, it is the ideal time to remind all members of the Technology Association of Georgia that we are more than dedicated to the promotion and advancement of the state's technology industry, more than the premier influence that brings together the technology community through events, initiative programs, and networking opportunities. As a member of TAG, you are also a vital part of the TAG Foundation. That's right. The TAG Foundation believes that all children should have the opportunity to explore and be inspired by technology and science, and to that end offers first-hand learning experiences for Georgia's youth through partnership and direct programs. Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday, December 2nd, 2008, and this is Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. I'm your guest host, Frank Baia. Our children and the challenges of tomorrow's global hyper-connected world. Decades from today's virtual reality, a generation beyond Wi-Fi and mesh collaboration, hyperspeed and functionally oriented appliances are long ago history. It's a time when ubiquitous, Hurlbut connectivity to all knowledge and all creativity engages everyone in the now. Yikes! Yet that future stems from today's education. That's right, STEMS. STEMS, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. This month, the Tech Talk focuses on the STEM initiative as we speak with the newly appointed Director of Program Services for the TAG Foundation, John Hurlbut. Prior to joining the Foundation in September of this year, John had served a distinguished career in the Atlanta nonprofit community for nearly 15 years. 12 years alone as the Chief Financial Officer for the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Atlanta. Honored with multiple awards for outstanding contributions to the community, including the prestigious Distinguished Level Award from the Professional Association of the Boys and Girls Clubs of America and the Glenn Pelham Award from Emory University. The STEM Initiative, TAG's new education collaborative, the Foundation's goals, and you as a member of TAG, how can you play a part in building our technology's community future and the greater Georgia economy as we work together to help all children reach their greatest potential? Let's meet and Tech Talk on the TAG's Foundation with newly appointed Director of Program Services, John Hurlbut. John, welcome to Tech Talk.
Thank you very much, Frank. I'm happy to be here.
First, congratulations on the new position. Although it's just been a brief time, a couple of months, I'm sure that you've got your feet on the ground and off and running. Tell us a little bit about what you've found and maybe a little look about, certainly a lot of our listeners are familiar with the great work that TAG is already doing to enhance the effectiveness of technology in the community. But talk a little bit about how the Foundation works and maybe get into a little bit about the new Education Collaborative.
Okay, Frank. As the state's top Technology Association, TAG has a clear stake in the well-being of Georgia's public education system and its ability to produce quality candidates to fulfill Georgia's future workforce needs, especially in science and technology. Also, a lack of emphasis on science and technology in public school curricula ensures a dearth of homegrown intellectual capital necessary to spur competitive growth on the state and national levels. TAG created the TAG Education Collaborative to be a catalyst to provide a platform for the key stakeholders, which are students, teachers, parents, and the business community, to collaborate in an effective way to enhance the education and the workforce pipeline. And we've gotten off to what I think is a very good start, getting our extensive TAG membership involved in these initiatives.
Maybe touch on that just briefly, and that is, how does a TAG member or a TAG organization, a company, even some of its affiliates, if they want to get involved, how do they get involved?
Well, what we're doing now is creating a lot of opportunities for them to be involved. Actually, the TEC, we'll call it, the TAG Education Collaborative, which is the new name for our foundation, has basically a delivery process called PREP, which is another acronym. We all love them, which stands for Policy Advancement, Research and Development, Enhanced Awareness, and Programs. And With regard to policy advancements, we consider education being the cornerstone of creating a strong and engaged workforce, and tech supports positive change in state policy that will encourage Georgia's youth to pursue STEM-related careers. To that end, tech will work with the association's Government Relations Task Force to positively affect legislation action that supports enhanced STEM curricula. In the research and development area, tech will collaborate with education, business, and other nonprofit organizations to conduct research projects that are aimed at better understanding issues such as why Georgia students fail to complete high school, what are the most effective ways to stimulate an interest in STEM-related courses, and what additional data is needed to help address these issues. In enhanced awareness, tech will develop a network of information for students, parents, educators, business leaders, that will access so that they can access useful information such as best practices, teaching aids, school needs, student activities, parent resources, internship opportunities, which is going to be one of our big focuses for the future, and a business support network, and more.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, please.
No, and the last part of the acronym is programs, and Tech currently sponsors its own web challenge and supports Atlanta's Tech High Charter School and the First Robotics program.
Been involved in that web challenge. A lot of fun, a lot of exciting, innovative energy coming out of the high schools and out of the young people playing around with the internet. Even some of the things I've seen over the years actually have manifested themselves in businesses. I don't know about them specifically, but their ideas certainly were early and got adopted pretty quickly in terms of the general community. Okay, so for our listeners, we want to make a note that the TAG Foundation now is going to be called TEC. Am I correct now? That's going to be the TAG Education Collaborative. So you'll be seeing and hearing a lot about TEC, that acronym, and of course that's the TAG Education Collaborative. Now another acronym we mentioned earlier is this STEM, the whole concept of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I got to admit, it's kind of become a buzz acronym as far as academia today, but what does STEM really stand for? I mean, beyond the acronym itself, why do you feel that this educational issue is more important than other educational issues in general?
Frank, again, the acronym stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and these happen to be areas where America is drastically falling behind other developed countries. In the words of Thomas Friedman in his bestseller, The World is Flat, we are not producing in this country, the United States of America, enough young people going into science, technology, and engineering, the fields that are going to be essential for entrepreneurship and innovation in the 21st century. And I humbly agree. Georgia is a perfect example of this. Arguably, the biggest problem is a shortage of qualified teachers in the critical STEM areas.
Mm-hmm.
An example of that is in some 2006 statistics. Out of 2,139 high school teachers teaching Algebra 1, only 68% were certified in math. Out of 2,067 high school teachers teaching biology, only 26% were certified in biology. Out of 1,031 high school teachers teaching chemistry, only 13% were certified in chemistry. And even worse, out of 514 high school teachers teaching physics, only 6% were certified in physics. To make matters worse, the trend is continuing. In 2008, Georgia certified over 4,000 new K-12 teachers. Of those, only 8 were certified chemistry teachers, and 3 received their certification in physics. It is also estimated that by 2010, with increased student enrollment and teacher attrition, Georgia will need 4,500 new science and math teachers, including 1,700 in high school. So we have a lot of work to do, and the TAG membership, I think, is in an excellent position to help the education community in that regard.
That's the great part. I think the mentoring aspect of it. You mentioned also having some intern programs. I know there's a lot of companies that I network with in the traditional sense of just networking business contacts, and are a lot of very interested in getting young people involved in some of their business areas. And I think that's going to be a great point, along with all of these other things. I mean, you're talking about a huge initiative, but an important one. Obviously, John, you're bringing up a lot of interesting points, a lot of concern, really, when you think about the overall job force for the future. We're constantly talking about Georgia's competitiveness from the state's economy, and Atlanta and Georgia as being the technology hub or the crossways or gateway to global markets and that type of just general economic development type competition. What you're talking about obviously does, but how does it affect Georgia's economy?
That's a great question, Frank. Actually, a more fundamental problem than the aforementioned teacher shortages in the STEM curricula is keeping kids in school in general.
Mm-hmm.
Student dropout rates are a significant drain on Georgia's economy, and I don't think a lot of people know the metrics there. The number of high school non-graduates from 2004 through 2007, a 4-year period in Georgia, was over 123,000. Even though there's been slight improvement in these statistics over the last 4 years, it's estimated that the lost lifetime earnings in Georgia for just the 2007 class of dropouts, which was a little less than 28,000, totals more than $15 billion.
Unreal. Unbelievable. It's amazing when you put a number to it.
It is. It's really huge. And in the STEM arena, there are considerably more workers facing retirement than there are candidates in the pipeline to replace them. This comes at a time when America has so much to do that requires technology solutions, and I think we read the papers and see about energy and healthcare issues being good examples. We must work together to simultaneously develop methods to keep kids in school, inspire them to embrace the importance of the STEM curricula, produce more STEM teachers, and ultimately feed the STEM workforce pipeline.
What an exciting opportunity. A huge challenge, no doubt. I mean, the magnitude of the problem, although I know TAG and Tech now, as far as the Education Collaborative, is not alone in this initiative. But let's get into a little bit about what role you see the TAG Educational Collaborative, TEC, expect to play as far as the improvements in the STEM education, and then maybe go into a little bit about the workforce pipeline in Georgia with this initiative, because one of the things I think all of us will agree, seems like it's almost in your DNA. Either children, young students are into these subjects and can't get enough of it, or they are totally opposed to them and never seem to be interested and kind of want to jump into a video game. So what role does TEC expect to play in the improvements in this whole STEM education role?
Well, your last comment about the video games, Frank, is very interesting, and that's interestingly going to be one of the solutions probably to this STEM problem. Kids are great at those kind of games. They learn technology at a very early age, which I certainly didn't do. And that's just like a pencil to them now. So we got to engage them with the things that they know in order for them to advance. At TEC, we look to measure our progress and growth in the STEM area by increasing the STEM workforce over time. Obviously, there's a number of activities that need to take place for us to do that. And some of our interim goals are to reduce school dropout rates, identify gaps in access to technology for rural schools, and work with business partners to close those gaps. Increase the number of professional development opportunities for teachers to improve their skill for teaching STEM courses. Increase the quantity and quality of parent groups that are specifically devoted to the improvement of student performance in STEM courses. And to increase the number of internship opportunities, as I mentioned earlier, in private industry and government for high school and college STEM majors.
Now, if any of our listeners are interested in getting more information about how they can participate, maybe even getting some of the background information that you're telling us about today in terms of what sounds to me like you've already gotten a pretty well organized mission, or at least beginning to structure a strategy, is there a place where we can get some of that information?
There certainly is, and you can do it in two ways. One is you can contact me by email, which at john@tagonline.org. That's JOHN@TAGONLINE.org, or by phone at 404-920-2038. We are also in the process of developing a new website, which will be linked to the TAG website, that's going to be used to provide a lot of interesting information on what is going on in the education community, and many ways for those listeners to get involved.
I guess one of the bottom line questions I got to ask you is, what do you need? I mean, what do you need to be successful? What does TEC, again, the Education Collaborative, the new name for the TAG Foundation, what do you need to be successful?
Well, the main things we need to be successful are things that most nonprofits, because we are a 501c3 entity, just like other nonprofits out there, and they are time, talent, and treasure. We need passionate volunteers to help us navigate a course for our journey. Along those lines, we need technical talent that is capable of being efficient and effective in the delivery of our mission. And equally important is money. We are a frugal organization, but good programs have a price tag. In that regard, TEC has embarked on an annual campaign to raise funds for 2009. And if anyone is interested in helping us in any of these areas, the email information and number that I provided earlier are there for them to contact me.
Now, we mentioned earlier, John, that this month, over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be focusing on the STEM initiative and talking to some dedicated academics and some professionals that are committed into this area. One in particular that will be coming up soon is Kathy Cox. I know that this morning Kathy spoke at the recent breakfast series for TAG, the Technology Association breakfast series, and I think she was covering the Department of Education plan or strategy for 2009 and beyond. I'm sure you were there. Can you give us a little insight into some of the comments?
Exactly. She gave a wonderful presentation this morning and she focused it mainly on the STEM initiatives, but she did talk a lot about what is happening in education in general in Georgia. And I happen to know firsthand, backing up a second, from a bus tour that I went on 2 weeks ago that was given by the Georgia Partnership for Excellence in Education, that where I had an opportunity to visit 6 performing schools in rural South Georgia, and got a chance to see some of the good work that is starting to evolve from the strategy that Kathy Cox's department has been putting together over the last couple of years. And I think there's possibly too much news being focused on the bad news versus the good news, and there's a lot of good models out there for us to copy in other areas to grow from. But Kathy presented a lot of that area, and she presented there's 2 parts that are really critical, I think, in education today. One is, for the first time in the history of our country, we're trying to educate every kid, which carries with it a lot of deep challenges. The big thing along with that Kathy has done is the curriculum that they have developed to get kids not only ready to compete, or the Georgia kids not ready to compete nationally, but also internationally, which is even a bigger challenge. The curriculum that she has developed in the science and math area is actually the 5th best in the country. The problem now is getting the kids caught up with that. So there's going to be some growing pains for a year or 2, but after that, I think we're going to see some wonderful progress.
We've been speaking with John Hurlbut, the new Director of Program Services for TAG Education Collaborative, TEC, which is the new acronym for the TAG Foundation. John, give us that email number and phone number again for any of our listeners who want to get involved, and I think some of them will want to. It sounds like a great initiative, and hats off to you for already hitting the ground running. But give us those contact numbers as we close the conversation.
Okay, it's John, John, at tagonline.org. That's TAGONLINE.org. And the phone number is 404-920-2038.
John, again, congratulations on your new position. A lot of exciting challenges and opportunities, and thank you for joining us today on Tech Talk.
Frank, thank you very much for the opportunity.